Hello, today we are gonna practice the English language. I just did a Japanese language recording, and I want to say first that my throat has gotten so much better than it was yesterday. I think I needed to drink the lemon juice and also take a bit of rest, but my voice isn't back the way it was before just yet. So I have to, I think, rest a little bit more and recover from I think there was an airborne disease that was floating around in the air yesterday because we do have patients who have some kind of problem definitely. I mean, the clinic isn't supposed to be an infectious disease clinic, but there are patients who do come. Maybe they want to know if it's somehow related to their bones or joints or whatever. And also, there are cases when the patients have multiple types of problems, which would involve the infectious disease type of problem. And that's why every time you go to hospital, it's best that you keep in mind that you do not stay there like you are lodging in a hotel or something like that. Because the longer you stay there, the higher the chance that you will be exposed to certain diseases, certain problems, and it's best that you could somehow recover very quickly, and if you can return home and recover from whatever it is that's ailing you at home, that I think would be the best. Only there are times when people can't do that because there's no one who'd help them take their blood pressure, take whatever laboratory exam that they need, and maybe they don't have someone whom they could hire or whom they could trust to do these things for them, so they have to go to the hospital. So there are cases when there are patients who can't really get back home as quickly as they might want to. So they are stuck there in the hospital. But of course, there are also people who visit them, and maybe those people don't know very well the situation, and so they think that it's some kind of leisure activity. But in fact, you would have to be aware of the diseases also that are floating around in case you pass by any of those infectious diseases units. Now, I was talking about the videos that I've been looking at on YouTube in my Japanese recording, and I was talking about how certain games like the Marvel vs. Capcom and the Magic the Gathering type of games do have a relationship or some type of influence to how people do later on in life. And I was saying that the guys who were playing Magic the Gathering seemed to fare much better than those who played Marvel vs. Capcom. And I was trying to analyze why it was like that. And I was saying first that I played Marvel vs. Capcom at the arcades back in the I think this was already in 2000s, and I played it just to try it out because some of the characters attracted me, like the Rockman character, and also there were new characters like the Venom characters, and I tried it out and I played it for a while with one coin and quickly lost. And the guys who were playing the game so much more than I was kept on playing and winning the game. And whereas the Magic the Gathering game, I played it as well, and I admitted that in the 90s I wasn't really good at English. My English wasn't really the best in the best. Oh, we have to. We have to look for that sound. Where's the sound? Oh no, we are gonna try to look for the sound. Where is it coming from? Okay, I think this is it. All right, right. So let me just do this again. Okay, so I was saying that the Magic the Gathering game was a game that I played when I was in grade school. I started playing it, I think it was in grade 5 in 1995. And I wasn't really the best in English. I was in slow group English back in the day. And so, how was I able to play this game? Well, if you look at the cards, it also has illustrations, drawings. So, if you can identify the card based on the drawings and you can remember what it does, then you can do pretty alright without having to read too much the text. So, in that way, I was able to somehow get by. And I was giving an instance when I played with a classmate who brought a deck that I um, played with. The deck had white and green cards, so it was a combination of white and green. And he had the Yavimaya Ants card that I've never seen before, I've never been exposed to prior. And because I had to know what it does, why is it dealing me 5 hit points damage immediately? I had to ask him certain things, and he was explaining to me what it does and why it's doing that. So in that way, the Magic the Gathering allows for people to communicate with each other in a way that the other person would understand what you are doing with certain cards that you have, because there are so many cards in the in the Magic the Gathering universe that a person like myself wouldn't know every single card. And it's only when you are playing against other players, other people with their own decks, that you encounter new cards that you can learn about. And because you don't know them at the start, they would have to explain to you what it does. Because if it's dealing me 5 damage points, I want to know why it's so strong. And it turns out its defense is very weak. It's only one, I think. So it has that trade off. It has a 5 damage attack point, but its defense is only one. Another card that he used that was kind of something that I was doing also, because my deck was a red black type of deck, and so I had access to the lightning bolt, which could deal 3 damage points very quickly. It's an instant spell, and he had a swords to plowshares, which killed any creature they have immediately. So you want to know where where's the damage there? I mean, where's the lightning bolt type of 3 point damage points? And no, it just kills the thing. So you need to know why is it like that? What what is the solution? For example, I mean, creatures have defense points, and you're telling me that my creature, whatever my defense is, it's gonna die. Turns out it's because it's a white spell. So the spell is accessible to everyone who uses the white type of magic cards. And because I was using the red type of magic cards, I didn't have access to that. And if I wanted to use something like, then I have to switch. I have to get the white magic cards to be able to use them. And so that type of communication, that type of exchange where you have to talk to another person and that person would have to explain to you certain things. And that way you can learn about the universe and be able to play it pretty alright. Now, when we compare that to a Marvel versus Capcom game, which was at the game centers, if you didn't have the game, the only way you could play it was to go to the arcades and pay each time you are playing. Maybe it would be 5 or 10 pesos per game. The thing is, the game moves so fast that you don't have time to think about what you are doing because your opponent is gonna wipe you out very quickly. And it doesn't have the communication type of time that the Magic the Gathering game has, where you want to know what's happening here actually. Why am I getting so much more damage from your character, and is there a way I can defend myself? You don't have something like that going on in a Marvel versus Capcom game. You just see yourself as your character being damaged, being killed, and that's it. And if you want to play again, you have to put in another coin, and you just keep on trying and trying until you somehow get it. But it's so fast that I think that the only way for you to really win the game is for you to be able to play it for a long time and try out so many things so that you know how the game works. And I was also um, pointing out in Japanese class that the characters, there are characters that we are familiar with already. It's not like the magic cards where, oh, what's this Yami Maya ants? We are quite familiar with the characters in the Marvel versus Capcom game because these are Marvel superhero characters. You got Spider-Man, Venom, and then if you play Street Fighter like my siblings and I back then, we also knew about Ryu, we also knew about Chun-Li, and then Rockman, even though we didn't play a lot of Rockman games at the time because it was too difficult, we recognized the Rockman character. In fact, it's the character that I wanted to try out, and it wasn't a problem of being able to recognize the characters, but more of knowing how come I am not doing so well. How come my opponent's damages are so much more than what I can deal? And is there a way I can defend myself? And it looked like there was no way for me to know that if I am not always at the game center, I don't have a copy of the game at home. Maybe there was a Saturn version or a PlayStation version, but I think the arcade version was so much faster, didn't have any lags. So I had no way to learn more about the game except to go to the game center. And the guys who were doing so well were the ones who consistently were at the game center and playing the game. As compared to Magic the Gathering, where I could bring home the cards and take a look at the drawings and maybe read a little bit what's written there. Because some of the cards, like the lightning bolt, would have a short phrase. So it's not a very long phrase as compared to many other cards because there's so many other cards there too. So in that way, I could learn more about the game, and if I wanted to play the game, I had siblings who were playing the game as well. We didn't have to go to the game center at all to play it. And if I had someone whom I wanted to play with, for instance, in school, when we were already graduating from high school, there was time when the students brought their magic cards just before we all graduated to play the game in school because I think back in 1995, people at at the school decided that video games like the Game Boy, like the Magic cards, weren't very good for students, for children. So they didn't allow these things to be brought to school. Although there was time when people didn't know yet that the Magic cards were bad or the Game Boy could do so much impact to the young students at the time. So there were people who were bringing these cards, but eventually the school decided that we had to have some kind of rule that would not allow children to bring these things to school. So after many years, from grade school to high school, because it was in the same vicinity more or less, there was a grade school and a high school of the, the entire school in the same vicinity. So I moved to high school for that of that school, and before we graduated from high school, turned out that the teachers and the people who were supposed to be the disciplinarians allowed the students, the graduating students, to have some type of fun to at least celebrate their graduating from high school. And so that's when I played with my classmates before who also had their decks, their magic card decks, and that's where I learned about some of the other cards that I didn't know too much about, and that's why also I learned about how certain cards could be used together with other cards. So there's so many things that you can learn definitely from the Magic card universe. And years later, what happened was the guys who were playing the Marvel vs. Capcom game, they were able to graduate somehow, I think, but I don't. I don't recall their getting to well-known or prestigious universities, unlike those who were playing Magic the Gathering. So it seemed to me that the guys who were playing Magic the Gathering were able to get into prestigious universities more more obviously or more palpably than the rest of the guys who were playing the Marvel vs. Capcom game. Even though I tried it out also myself, but not as much as the other guys who seem to have been playing it quite a lot. Now, after getting into university, what happened next were the guys who were playing Marvel vs. Capcom and the guys who were playing Magic the Gathering. When they graduated, what happened to them? Are they better off than their counterpart, or is there no big difference anymore? I think that's a story for another time. So I think we can stop here for now. Thanks for joining me. We'll see each other soon.